Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking a little more about the game that by now we all think is going to be EU5 Project Caesar, and we're going to be taking a first look at the potential EU5 map along with a very controversial feature that I'm very excited to hear your opinion on as well. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I talked about this first Dev Diary Tinto talks that just dropped right here, and I was talking about how I think this is going to be EU5. A lot of you guys called me crazy in the comments below, blah blah blah, but I think the entire community agrees by now that this is in fact EU5. And these are the two Dev Diaries we're going to go over today, the second one and the third one that just dropped today for me on the 13th. You're going to see this video on the 19th. Tomorrow on the 20th, there's going to be a new one, so be on the lookout for that. And without further ado, let's take a look at the first look of the potential EU5 map along with that controversial feature right here that I'm going to talk about very soon. So this is the second Dev Diary right here. Welcome to the second week of Tinto Talks, where I talk about the design we have for our new top secret game. I wonder what game that could be, which we refer to as Project Caesar. Today we'll delve into everyone's favorite topic, maps. Of course, it's everyone's favorite topic. Now, let's begin with the projection we chose for this game. In the past, we've used the Mercator or Miller projection, which had some severe drawbacks. I agree, as you're all aware of, as we're restricted to a cylindrical map. Basically, the U4 map looks like this. It's a cylinder. That's how it rolls around your screen and stuff like that. We had to pick the least bad of them, which is why we went with the GAL stereographic projection. And obviously, for certain reasons, this can't be a globe. Why is that one good? Well, it keeps the areas we care most about, those in the middle latitudes, bigger without making the poles ridiculously oversized or the equator too undersized, basically squished. It also has a reasonable conformable shape, meaning that the shape of the content stays the closest to the real areas and angles without sacrificing a recognizable shape to them. Now, let's jump into this first image right here and let's go ahead and dissect it a little bit. So this is what has been revealed from the map. We can't see the top or the bottom over here because that would reveal the UI and stuff like that. But obviously this projection looks way better right off the bat than anything we've seen in EU4, because as you all know, in EU4, man, South America and North America are moved up a little bit. So this part right here is like over here in EU4, and that's sort of to do with colonialization and stuff like that. And yeah, but obviously it looks a lot better. Africa is way nicer in size, even though Russia looks way too massive still. But that's still the drawback of this projection. In reality, boys, Russia, which is looking like, this big, and if you put it on Africa, it will be this big. In reality, Russia's like this big, right? It's from here to here. So it's still some drawbacks in the north and the south, I think, but I do think that the main portion, just like it says right here, looks really good. Now, the next thing we can notice right here is the massive amounts of wastelands, but also the super detailed depictions of these wastelands and stuff like that. Or not wastelands, let's just say uninhabitable or impassable terrain or something like that. A lot more mountains over in Europe. This is similar to maybe the map in Imperator Rome, for example, where it's a lot more detailed. We can see the Alps right here, the what do you call this, the Carpathians, the Balkan mountains right here, well, I forgot what the French and Spanish ones were called, but yeah, everything over there. A lot of stuff over in Tibet, in Persia, in the Arabian Peninsula, lots of stuff over in Africa, and a very detailed map in South and North America, from what I can tell, although I would expect a lot more impassable terrain over here. Maybe the Appalachians aren't that tall. But is that a positive or a negative thing? I don't know. Obviously, we all like details, but this is looking way too gory for me and stuff like that. I guess we'll have to see how it plays out in the actual game, but, first impressions, really digging the detail. Second impressions might be a little too detailed, although that's definitely not a negative thing. Something else we can notice right here is these sort of little paths running through the Sahara and stuff like that I think are very cool. Obviously a lot of people wouldn't have lived here. Maybe these are some like major population centers like Timbuktu or Songhai or something like that. But yeah, Egypt is already looking a lot more realistic. So I'm definitely very much digging the stuff over here that's going on in Northern Africa. Congo Basin, basically uninhabited, as we can see. Very detailed in Arabia as well. And yeah, I'm pretty much digging the entire world. We can see a little bit of Australia as well, not all of it. So yeah, nice to see that all of this is connected down here. Yeah, I'm just a little iffy on the border gore that could be happening due to this. Otherwise, I totally dig this super nice projection and the detail that this map provides. Now, another thing that I can notice right off the bat right here is that, well, I was gonna say something else, but we have sea tiles in the, in the Caspian Sea. So we might actually see some boats over here. That's very nice. Nothing in the Aral Sea though, so yeah, no big deal. But what I was gonna say is that these are potential sea wastelands. You can't actually go there with your boat, or if you do, you die or something like that. And maybe these things right here represent sort of trade routes or travel routes or something like that your boats will be going through, which is something I do like quite a lot. And I do think it is pretty realistic for the way travel was depicted, or not depicted, the way travel actually was during that time frame. And, you know, the way travel actually is, or at least shipping today, you know, so that's something I like quite a lot as well. And those are just my initial thoughts on this first map that's been shared right here with us. With that said, let's move on with the dev diary and see the other maps that have been shared with us as well. Now, Johan continues to explain here, in most of our games set in the past, we've used the word of province for the smallest piece of clay on the map. However, with the map design we're doing for this game, it does not really thematically fit, as the map is more granular. What does that mean? And what people associate with the real world province would not fit. So we went to a terminology we had used in the code since the first game we made in the old Europa engine, which was location. So now our smallest subdivision is referred to as a location. I guess this is sort of like a settlement or a city or a town or a village or something like that. Something similar to what's in Victoria 3 with the smallest units, units of size, and with the stuff that's in Imperator as well. Well, a group of locations is called a province, and a group of provinces is an area. And so a group of areas is a region, a group of regions is a subcontinent, and a group of subcontinents is a continent. Obviously, you know, the same as it's in EU4, just without location. In EU4, the province is the smallest one. Now we got another smaller one, which is the location. Not sure on my thoughts on this right now. Let's keep reading and I'll tell you what I think. If we take the home of Paradox Interactive, it's located in our location Stockholm, which is, well, if we open up this map right here, I'll jump into it, which is in the province of Uppland, which is in the Svealand area, which is in the Scandinavia region, which is part of Western Europe subcontinent, which is in the Europe continent. Now, going over in this region right, in this map right here, is this right here the, the location of Stockholm. And then if this right here, you know, as far as I can see these dotted lines, I don't think anything is under like the S or something like that. Or maybe this is Stockholm up to here. What are these? That's what I'm wondering. What is this? Oh no, actually, wait, I think I'm wrong, man. I think this is like trade routes, could be something, or roads or something like that. I think these little gray lines are actually the locations. Okay, I think I'm seeing it now. So this right here is Stockholm, and all of these other ones, Stockholm and these 4 other ones, are all in the area or in the province of Uppland. So imagine this, in EU4, all of this is the province of Stockholm or something like that. So, you know, I really don't have a very strong opinion on these, or not strong, but I really don't have that much of a positive opinion on these. I actually don't like the way these smallest units of terrain work in in Imperator and Victoria. I think it's a little bit confusing, but I guess, you know, maybe that's just a personal thing, because when you take a look at it by area and then by province, it's pretty much the same thing, just scaled down. So when you click on Stockholm, I guess the view for the entire, you know, I think it'll pop up in something like Imperator. It'll pop up like Stockholm down here, and then the entire area of Uppland will pop up above it. And then you just click on end copying, and it'll pop up down here, but the Uppland will stay up here. And then I guess somehow you click on Uppland, and then Uppland pops down here, which is the province, and then the entire area of Svealand is popping up there. And then you just sort of they're basically like stacked. You know, imagine all of them are stacked like this, and then you click on this one and you see the one above it. You click the one above it, you see the one above it. And you know, I think it could be depicted with something like that, but not sure on these smallest units of area. I guess we'll see if they work like they do in Imperator or Victoria. But yeah, that's the second map right here. Let's go ahead and analyze it a bit. So I think we have the depiction over here. Maybe not that much. Maybe this photo was taken during winter or something like that. But we do have, not really, but sort of the map view that I'm not really a fan of. I've told you my opinion on this many times. It's just a personal thing. I don't like, and I'm saying this for the 1,000th time, I'm sorry, but I don't like when you zoom in from political to transparent terrain or something like that. So you can still see the map color of Sweden right here, but it's a little bit transparent-ish. I do like it when it's fully opaque and stuff like that. But definitely, you know, the coastline and stuff like that. I like the font, obviously the EU5 font with the white, stroke on it. A very detailed coastline, a very detailed little lake right here. I do like the little illustrations, little trees and shrubs, and, you know, I guess we'll see hills and mountains and stuff like that. But I do like everything that I'm seeing over here. I just hope there's a mod that makes it all blue like this. That's it. That's all I want. But yeah, not a lot to go off of the second image right here, telling us way less than what we took a look in the first image. Let's continue. Now you may wonder, why did we go with such granularity on a map like this? Well, this is entirely gameplay driven. From making a deep engaging gameplay piece to impossible, to better controlling the pacing of the game, and also to allow for a more fun military campaigns. And honestly, that's totally valid. I most likely agree with this, to be honest, even though I may not be a fan of these smallest units. I think I'm just gonna have to get used to it. We've tried to make provinces as historical as possible when it comes to borders, while trying to keep the size of locations consistent, with more or less regular progression from the smallest to the biggest, with a rule of thumb is that a location shouldn't have more than 3 times the number of pixels compared to a neighboring one. Okay, so yeah, it's as simple as that. That's just a design and a coding thing, if you will. So is the entire globe then divided into lots of tiny locations? No, as there are 4 types of locations. Okay, interesting. And for these, we have taken inspiration from the maps of Imperator and Victoria. See, just like I was talking about, boys. The first type of location is of the more uniform size. For a land location, this would be the normal location that can be settled. And for a sea location, that will be a coastal location or any location adjacent to a coastal sea location. So I guess these right here and these right here is what this is talking about. The second type is the sea current locations, which connect coastal areas with each other, allowing faster travel in one direction. So I am guessing this is what we're talking about here. So for example, this one, it will make you move faster towards the Americas. This one right here, if you go along it, it'll make you go faster from the Americas to Europe. Pretty cool, honestly. The third is what we call an impassable wasteland, which can be used to describe parts of Sahara, Greenland, and other places where hardly any people live even today. We also use these types for the majority of the water covering the ocean. So this right here, I think is referring to this right here, which I said it's sort of like a sea wasteland, and it's referring to basically stuff over here, right? That's like the wastelands and stuff like that. I think that's what it's referring to, but let's continue to read. Finally, we have what we call currently passages. These are land locations that cannot be settled by anyone, but can still be traversed by an army with some insanely heavy attrition or allowed trade to pass through. Think of passages across the Saharan desert. So this is very, very cool in my opinion. Maybe a little weird to what we've seen compared to what we have now, but I do think it's very, very cool. So let's try and find some of those that Dev Diary describes. I think these are going to be those. See, these are these passages. You can't actually take these for your land. You can't actually conquer them from anyone. If you're colonizing, you can't actually colonize them, but they're just there so you can walk through them. Once again, this may, result in some border gore and stuff like that. And basically, I guess if you own this and this up here, it would technically be yours. Maybe you could technically stop anyone from passing through it, even though caravans could still run through them and stuff like that. But I do think it's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see where those are gonna pop up, aside from just Sahara. Maybe we have some over here in South America, something like that. Maybe it's gonna be like through mountains and something like that. I don't know, maybe it's some of these right here. So I guess we'll have to see which ones, which ones those exactly are. And that's about it with that. Speaking of desert, in a lot of our games, we define each province as having a single terrain value, like forest, tundra, or desert. This is rather limiting, I agree, because you eventually will end up with a huge list of complex things like Arctic, forested hill, or desert mountain. What have we done in Project Caesar is to take a deep look at how we did this in Victoria 2, where we had split terrain into topography and vegetation, which is very, very cool. I like this a lot, big fan, and take it further. Now we have 3 different values in each location. So it's the climate, which is like arid, Arctic, continental, topography like flatland, hills, mountains, and vegetation, forest, woods, farmlands, desert. To give you an example of this, let's just say it's something in Papua New Guinea, and that would be, the climate would be like tropical, the topography would be like mountains, and then the vegetation would be like rainforest. So you get what I'm trying to say. Maybe Constantinople would be temperate, flatland, farmland, stuff like that. And I think that's gonna be very cool I'm liking everything I've seen in this initial dev diary so far. This is, I think, our first look at EU5's map. Like I said, I'm digging the projection. Still can't be perfect because it's not a globe, but I do think it's probably, maybe aside from Imperator with the whole rotating globe like this thing, which is not really a globe, sorta, kinda, depending on how you take a look at it. I think this is the best projection we have, man. I think it is, and I am liking it quite a lot. Iffy on the border gore, iffy on these tiniest values of terrain or land or clay or whatever, but I am liking quite a lot everything that we've seen so far. So that's our first look at EU5's map. What we think is EU5's map. I'm gonna keep calling it that until I'm proving wrong, boys. Just saying that. And let me know your opinion on these first images of EU5's map that we've seen. And with all that said, let's move on to a very controversial topic that I may have changed my opinion about: population. Now let's move on with the second dev diary, or the third one, I should say, the second for today's video, which dropped just 2 hours and 9 minutes ago for me. Welcome to the third week of Tinto Talks, where we'll talk about our upcoming game, which has the codename Project Caesar, EU5 by the way. Today we're gonna delve into something that some may view as controversial. It's me. I'm some. If we go back to one of the pillars we mentioned in the first development diary, Believable World, it has 4 sub-pillars, where 2 of them are important to bring forward today. Population. Now, pops in Paradox Games, man. You either love it or you hate it. And let me just give you my opinion on pops, but my opinion from 3 days ago. You see, 2 days ago, today is Wednesday for me, on Monday, I played Imperator Rome for the first time. And obviously, you know, I've encountered pops before in Victoria 2, in Victoria 3 and stuff like that. And I didn't really enjoy how that whole system worked. It seemed way too confusing and complex for me, and I didn't really get it, and I was opposed to it. And you've heard me say lots of times that I don't want to see pops in EU5, even though it was basically confirmed for a couple of years now, ever since Johan said it live at PDXCon a couple of years ago, that the next game is for sure gonna have pops. At least that's how I remember it. He may not have said it, I don't know, but that was my opinion on it before a few days ago. Now, like I just said, I just played Imperator for the first time on Monday, and I actually already read this dev diary just a few minutes ago before I recorded this video, in order to, you know what I'm talking about. And I gotta say, man, literally just after playing Imperator and after reading this dev diary, I'm not opposed to pops anymore in EU5. And you'll see why once we go through this. Now, population. The simulation of the population will be what everything is based upon: economy, politics, and warfare. Simulation, not board game, which is, you know, saying not board game, basically not have it just be a static thing that you click culture convert or culture shift or blah, 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 whatever is the case in EU4 right now. Mechanics should feel like they fit together so that you feel you play in a world, not abstracted away to give the impression of being a board game. So what does that mean for Project Caesar? Now, before we move on, let's take another look at what we think is the map right here. And this is pretty much, why is it so far zoomed in? This is the culture map mode in the Indian subcontinent, man. Now, it may seem familiar-ish somewhat compared to what we have in EU5, in EU4 already. Obviously, these little things right here are where no one lives. Those are like impassable terrains, or what we just talked about, like things you can go through and stuff like that. So let's just take a look at this right here. Cindy, right? Cindy is located right here. I mean, this is just a dead giveaway that it's EU5. This is what the cultures are in EU4, and this is where all those countries are in EU4. This is EU5, man. Come on. Boys, it's U5. If this doesn't confirm it, I don't know what does. But yeah, Sindh is located right here, obviously, and this is majority Sindhi population is what I feel like. And this is Marwari. Merwar is located right here, or Mawar, or whoever it is. Yeah, Mewar. And they have like their own culture right here. But this is sort of an overlap. So maybe the majority is Marwati culture here, and some, also a sizable portion, maybe like 20-30%, is Sindhi. Or maybe the majority in this province is Sindhi, but it is controlled by Mewar, in which the primary culture is Marwati. So that's sort of how I'm getting this. And maybe it's like that, maybe it's not. You know, the overlaps could be the minority, or a sizable minority, or maybe under the control of someone. You know, you can sort of see the overlap, basically. It's not super static or anything like that, which I like quite a lot. So yeah, if this doesn't confirm it's U5, man, I swear I'm gonna eat my phone or something like that. So yeah, a very nice look at the map right here. We can definitely see the culture is very cool. U5 confirmed, boys. Let's continue reading. Every location that can be settled on maps can have pops, or as we often refer to them in Project Caesar, let's not call them pops, people. And I already love it. I already love it. That's all I have to say, boys. Most of the locations have people already from the start of the game. Today we'll talk about how people are represented in our game and hint at a few things they will impact in the game. So, a single unit of people in a single location can be any size from 1 to a billion. Well, I'm excited for Florida to have the first 1 billion province in EU5 or territory or whatever it was called, as long as they share the same 3 attributes: culture, religion, and social class. The unit of people we tend to refer to as a pop. So, culture, if they're Catalan, Andalusi, Swedish, or something else. Religion, Catholic, Lutheran, Sunni, etc. Nothing new. Actually, you'll see if we have nothing new pretty soon. We have quite a few new ones. Social class. In Project Caesar, we have 5 different social classes. So the nobles, these are the people at the top of the pyramid. Clergy, these are the priests, monks. Burghers, they come from the towns and cities of a country. Peasants, this is the bulk of the people. And slaves, only present in countries where it's legal. So, yeah, I like it that these are the only 5 different social classes. Mostly simplified, very easy to get, familiar terms with everyone. I feel like even with people that aren't really into historical games or aren't even that familiar with the way classes actually were historically. Super simple, man. These 3 to us are already familiar as some estates, and what these have me thinking is, will we actually have the estate system in EU5, or will it be something represented through the cultures or something like that the population or the people has? So, or maybe even peasants and slaves will be their own, estates, even though they don't really have any influence in a way that a nation is run. Maybe, for example, you could give the peasants some privileges. I'm just talking comparing to EU4 right here, what we have in EU4. Maybe if peasants was a estate in EU4, you could grant them a privilege which makes them pay less tax. In turn, you'll have less unrest or something like that, or more manpower or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, these are basically the people classes that we're gonna have in EU5. And this is a sort of a representation. By the way, I'm liking this UI quite a lot, man. I just wish the fonts were sort of, uniform. This isn't. These numbers aren't from this font and vice versa. But yeah, there we go. This is obviously the province or the, the province that has smaller units of terrain in it of Tarragona. Obviously, this is in Spain. We all know in today's Spain, obviously in EU4, it's, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, we have 48,534 peasants, which are mostly Catholic, and they're 75% happy. That's what this means. Then we have like 1,580 burghers, which are also Catalan culture, that are also 75% happy and Catholic. So all of these guys right here, I think it all represents their happiness in the same way because they're all Catalan. And if Catalan is an accepted culture, the nobles, the clerics, the burghers, the peasants, everyone over here, I think that's why they're mostly happy. Now, there is quite a few Andalusi people and Sephardic Jews or whatever in that province as well. And pretty sizable numbers from all of these guys right here. The peasants, Andalusi, peasants, Sephardi, and burghers, Sephardi as well. They are like completely unhappy. Like the Jewish guys are completely unhappy. And then the Sunni guys are mostly unhappy. I would say they're only 10% happy. So maybe that could be because Sunni, the tolerance of Sunni is very low. The tolerance of Jewish is very low. And maybe Andalusi and Sephardi aren't like accepted cultures in the country in which this screenshot has taken place. I'm gonna assume Aragon or Castile, whoever conquered it, or Spain or something like that. So very cool to see right here. I guess if you sort it by this, it'll sort them by like nobles, then burghers, depending on their standing. I guess this goes like up top of the pyramid and it goes down and stuff like that. So I guess this will sort it by that. This will sort it by the type of class. This is their culture, obviously. This is their religion. This is how many they are. And this is, I guess, their happiness. Let's continue reading without assuming too much. There are a few other statistics related to a pop, where first we have their literacy. Now, I don't know where the literacy is depicted over here. Maybe it's not in this screenshot, which impacts the technological advancement of the country they belong to. And it also impacts the pop understanding of their position in life. Kinda dark, if you ask me, but I do feel like that this technology thing, especially right here, is going to be pretty important. Another one is their current satisfaction. So, okay, this is satisfaction, not happiness, which if it becomes too low will cause problems for someone. Obviously, unrest and stuff like that, once again, relating it to EU4. Satisfaction is currently affected by the country's religious tolerance of their religion. So, tolerance of heathens, tolerance of heretics, tolerance of the true faith, stuff like that. Their cultural view of the primary culture. So, maybe this is like, if Catalan is an accepted culture, maybe Andalusi and Sephardi don't like Catalan, so that's why they're not happy. Maybe it's something like that. Their status of their culture, basically if it's accepted or not, tolerated or whatever. General instability of the country, obviously, unrest modifiers, stab modifiers and stuff like that. Several things we can't talk about just yet. And of course, especially scripted circumstances, so events and disasters and missions and stuff like that. So yeah, very cool, everything that I've heard about over here. There are also indirect values and impacts from a pop on the military, economical, and political part of the game. Obviously, that's something that's expected as well, which we'll go into detail in future development diaries. Populations can grow or decline over time, assimilate to other cultures, convert to religions, or even migrate. Super, super cool things I'm hearing over here. I'm liking this quite a lot, man, quite a lot. And this is coming from someone which, like I said just a few minutes ago, was opposed to pops or any sort of system of people in EU5. Most importantly here though, while population is the foundation of the game, it is a system that is in the background and you can only have indirect control over, which means, I guess, you can't kick these guys out or these guys in order to settle Catalans there. You have to do sort of maybe make that province attractive for Catalans to migrate to and Andalusis to migrate from, or something like that, sort of rolling modifiers, nothing instant, nothing like accept culture with the pigeon points, or, change culture or expel minorities or anything like we have in EU4. So I do think that is pretty cool, and I'm definitely excited to see how that's exactly gonna work out. What about performance then? One of the most important aspects of this has been to design the system and code it in a way that it scales nicely over time in the game and also has no performance impact. Of course, now that we've talked about how detailed our map is, with currently 27,518 unique locations on the map, with many of them having pops, you may get worried. Now, let me stop right there. So, locations are the smallest units of of land. 27,518. Now, in EU5, I know for sure there's like 4,800 provinces, including sea tiles and including wasteland. Let's say there's 4,500 actual provinces. So if all of these provinces in EU5 have about, let's say, 5 locations in them, that would be like 4,500 times 5. That would be like 23,000 or something like that. So it's pretty much more than 5,500 provinces, if my math is correct, in order to get about 5 of these locations, or less than 5 on them in that. So map is going to be way more detailed. It's not simply a province from EU4 split into a bunch of these, but there'll be more provinces too, which is very cool. So the map will be bigger in a sense. 14 years ago, we released a game called Victoria 2 that had 1/10 of the amount of locations, so that's like 2,700. But we also had far more social classes, or pop types as we call them here. Yeah, there's so many in Vicky 2, man. That game also had a deep political system where each pop cared about multiple issues and much more that we don't do here. All in a game that for practical purposes was basically not multi-threaded in the game logic and was still running fast enough at release. Now we're building a game based on decades of experience, and so far the performance impact of having pops is not even noticeable. I like that. That's positive to hear. All I want to know about this is when. When is the performance not even noticeable, right? Is it at the beginning of the game, at the end? If you have, like, let's say, I don't know, what was the population in the world in 1444? Let's just say it was 100 million. I know it's not. By the end of the game, how much is it gonna be? A billion, So yeah, it's definitely gonna scale nice. And finally, at the end, next week it says we'll talk about how governments work a bit. I'm super excited about that. Government reforms are one of my favorite aspects of EU4. But first, here's a screenshot that some may like. Now, let's get into this very, very spicy screenshot. Now, I think this is the overview of sort of the population, the sort of broad general overview of the people in a certain country. Now, this is the split of the cultures. As we can see, the harp, or the pillar, or whatever this is the symbol for the people, the culture. And we can see that we have about almost 1 million Greeks, 240,000 Bulgarians, 36,000 Aromanians, which are, people that are still present in certain regions in, I'm gonna say northern Greece, the Balkans and stuff like that today. Armenian, about 22,000, and Arvanite, which I'm gonna be honest, and sorry for being ignorant, I haven't heard of. There's about 6,500 of them. So this is the population of a certain country, and I think by now everyone is seeing which country this is. Then we have the religion composition of the country. About 1.26 million are Orthodox, 97%. 2.16% Bogomilist, which was quite heavily present, once again, in the same sort of region I'm talking about, which is just like this culture. Judaism, and I think you all know in which city this could be, or wait, actually, no. Yeah, sort of in the similar region. This that I'm not even going to try and pronounce, which is obviously 2 brand new religions confirmed for EU5, by the way, heavily requested for a very long time, and Catholicism, about 1,000 of those guys. And then finally, we have the classes right here, about 98% peasants, 21,000 burghers, 3,500 clerics, and about 610 nobles. And boys, if by now you don't get it, this is Byzantium. This is Byzantium in 1444, man. These are the Greeks, obviously, from their holdings in southern Greece, if it's not represented through vassals, and Constantinople. Bulgarians, obviously, from that one province in EU4 that's just north of Constantinople that Byzantium just got. And obviously, these will be minorities located in whichever of their provinces. Obviously, most of it will be Orthodox, and these are just some minor religions. And, you know, I don't even need to talk about the social classes, but I think what this also confirms, man, aside from the fact that this is EU5, since this is pretty much the cultures in EU5 as well, if you simplify them a bit and you overlay the nations which are already there in EU5, we got like Vidj right here, Bahmanis, Andhra, Orissa, Bengal, Gujarat, Sindh, the Delhi guys up here, what you call it, the Great J guys, you get it, man, it's EU5. Something else this confirms is that obviously, and how could this even be a doubt, is that Byzantium is gonna exist in EU5, which means we're at least getting a 1453 start. And based on the population right here, man, this might be earlier than that. I don't know. What was the population of Constantinople in 1444? Okay, so the population in Constantinople was 50,000 in 1453. Now, this is a lot more land than that. Maybe this is a Byzantium that's been released with all their cores? That's what I can see from all these, you know, 1.277 million people, man. 1.3 million people. So yeah, Byzantium confirmed that it exists. It has to be. It has to be. There's nothing else it can be, right? I don't think there's anything else it can be. You know, I'm looking at the population of Istanbul right here. I'm just hoping it's not too early of a start date and this knocks our whole, you know, EU5 thing out of the water. Maybe it could be Byzantium. Yeah, maybe this is the population specifically of a province, man. Like this one commenter says, that's what made me think right here. By the way, we've wrapped up the reading of the Dev Diary. I'm just going through the comments to see if any dev has commented anything. So yeah, just want to show off some comments by Johan at this time. So this person asked, at what territorial level will POPs be handled? And Johan says locations. Obviously, that's something we assumed. And then this person says, I'm curious about the banner image with all the numbers shown, and I'll get back to that in a second here, boys. It has different borders than the Indian culture map, so I assume it's like people per country or something, especially since Hainan shows 88 million, Lamau. And then Johan says it's per country and shown once per contiguous landmass. So based on that, and this is just something about literacy, that literacy will be hard to get. And let me just go back. Yeah, this is basically on locations that not all of them are urban. Now, if we go back to this very interesting image right here, and this person has a pretty good point as well. If we open it up, let's say this is one country. It has 1.767 million people in it, so we can assume this is one country. Now just like this commenter says, man, the map at the top implies a start of the 1300s, late 1300s. Seems like a political map. It does not match up to the cultural map we're shown, and the Delhi Sultanate still controls Jaunpur, basically this right here. But that's not the only thing, man. This right here is all one country right here, I think, since it's all contiguous, right? So either you guys need to find me which country looked like this at what point in, you know, history, what country looked like this in what point in history. Maybe some of these are vassals as well, and then we can maybe determine if this is the start date. But I do think this is a little image to throw us off. I think this is just gameplay in the game that we're seeing, EU5 most likely, at an irrelevant date where this population is. That's why it looks so weird. So good point from Liam right here, that if this is a start game, it does imply a different start date than like 1444 or 1453 or 1394 or something like that. But I do think this is after that, just with regular gameplay. Interesting comment right here. This person said, now we only need population pyramids, so losing 90% of our male 20 to 30-year-olds completely devastates your country. And Johan says, yeah, probably something for our games in 10 plus years or so. So I guess don't be expecting anything like this, boys. Yeah, lots of cool things to go through the comments here, man. This has specifically got me thinking on the start date. And honestly, there are quite a few valid points that the start could be 1356, man. So you guys can definitely look up a map of the world in 1356 or something like that and compare it to the screenshot we have over in South Asia. But yeah, man, this actually could be the screenshot. You know, that culture breakdown thing could be a screenshot of the population of Byzantium in 1356. Let me Google that. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting, man. This is how it looked like in 1356. The Ottomans still exist. So does Biz, Bulgaria, Serbia, Hungary, Poland, Lithuania. You know, a lot of this stuff over here looks very similar to 1444. Honestly, man. We got the Golden Horde still. The Mamluks, yeah. Honestly, aside from the Balkans and Anatolia, it's very similar. And I guess it would be pretty easy to familiarize yourself with. Damn. Yeah, I talked about this in the past too, that I'm a staunch supporter of 1444. I think it's so perfect, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god. El Rublo. You asked it. And he answered. Listen, boys, listen. My prayers have been answered. 27,518 provinces. Using EU4's definition of that count sounds both insane and super fun. Now, please tell me that terrain won't be visible when zooming in from political map mode. And I'm pre-ordering because pretty political map is one of the key aspects in grand strategy games for me. Yes. And Johan says not in political map mode. We won. Chewy, are you watching this video? We won. No transparent terrain in political.
I'm gonna become the biggest advocate of EU5. I swear.
And yeah, boys, I think that's about where we're gonna end it today, man. A super exciting third development diary right here. By the way, why is this an island? Why is Kuch an island? When was it an island? I guess it's an island when it floods from the Indus. I don't know. Why is it depicted like that? Also, when did Sri Lanka become an island? Yeah, someone needs to do a deep dive analysis of this map, man. Someone needs to do a deep dive on that. But yeah, very interesting right here. This is obviously Ming. When is this, though? When is this? That's all I'm wondering. But yeah, man, so this third dev diary, man, got me super hyped. This is coming from a pop hater. I think it's gonna be excellently implemented in EU5, man. Slightly got me worried about the start date right here, and I'm still not sold on the small on those location units of land, like I said, but super exciting, man. But yeah, let me know if by now any of you have any doubt that this is gonna be EU5, and let me know your thoughts on what we just talked about today from the second and third Tinto Talks Dev Diaries. And obviously let me know in the comments below if you want to see more videos covering these types of Dev Diaries. We got a new one coming tomorrow, a new one a week after that. I think I'll wait for 2 of them to come out, and then I'll do a video for them and something like that. But all of this has got me super excited, man, especially the no transparent from political to terrain. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And if you click on that and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of them. And you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another Tinto Talks Dev Diary video.